In this video, I will explain how you can improve your IELTS reading score with this easy 4-step method. So let's begin. Hi there, this is Mr. Brick from IELTS Mr. Brick, and on this channel we cover everything IELTS related. That includes tips, tricks and tutorials, so if this is something that you're interested in, consider subscribing. Now let's get straight into it. Now this method, it can actually be used for any type of subject. In fact, I've used this method myself when I was studying for the UK driving theory test. And also this is the same method that I teach my students to use when they want to improve their reading score. So let's begin. Now this method, I'm going to break it down into 4 easy digestible steps so it's easier for you to understand. So step 1 is to take a practice test or a mock test. Now I will leave some websites below in the description that will allow you to take practice IELTS reading tests. So what you can do is click on any of these websites, take a practice reading test. You do not need to do it under timed conditions, especially if you are new to the whole IELTS world. The main purpose here is just to get a feel of the types of questions that can be asked in the IELTS reading exam. So once you've completed this practice reading test, you will be given an overall score. Now this score should give you a clear idea as to what level you are currently at. Now the next step here is where things start to get a lot more interesting. So this is where you will analyze your results, and this is exactly how you will do it. So the reading exam can be broken down into 3 sections. So you will look at your results for each section. Section 1, Section 2 and Section 3. So just say for the sake of this example, you're aiming for a band 7, which most people are. That is 30 out of 40. So you need to score 30 marks out of 40. Because there's 3 sections, that works out at an average of 10 marks per section, okay? Now, you can get 12 in Section A, 8 in Section 2, and then 10 in Section 3, for example. But on average, we're aiming for 10 marks per section. So you're going to look at each section, calculate how many marks you scored. Whichever section you scored the least amount of marks, that's the section that we're going to focus on first. Remember, I said first. That means we will still focus on the other sections. Now, this is how we're going to focus on it. You're going to add up the marks that you got right. So just say, as an example, you scored 3 out of 10, okay? So what you will do now, and this brings us to the next step, and that is take the test again. However, when you're taking the test this time, you're not going to complete the whole exam, okay? Just on a side note, you can do the same test that you just did before, okay? Or you can do a different reading IELTS exam. It's completely up to you. My advice would be to do a different one, but either is okay. Okay, now let's go back. So you take the test again. However, this time when you're taking it, you're only focusing on that one specific section. That means you can ignore the other 2 sections. You don't need to answer any of those questions, okay? So you're focusing on that one section. Let's just say this is Section 2 as an example. So you've answered every question from Section 2, and then you submit your results, okay? Now, again, you'll be given your overall score. Now this score, whatever your mark is, it'll be 100% from Section 2, because that's the only questions you answered, okay? Now, what you want to do is you want to look at your results from the first time you took the exam and compare it to the second time you took the exam. Hopefully by now, by the second time, you should have scored a little bit higher, okay? The reason for this is because you're more familiar with the exam style questions. If you haven't scored higher though, don't worry, I'll tell you what to do. So at this stage, we are comparing our marks. So what that means is that if there are any questions that you got wrong in paper 1, and you want to see if you got the same type of questions wrong for paper 2. And if there is a correlation, that should give you a good indication that this is the type of question you need to focus on when you're studying. So essentially what we're doing now is just narrowing down our focus to specific questions. Remember, we started off taking the whole exam, then we moved down just a section. Now we're focusing on one specific type of question. Now, once you've started to work on this area of weakness, you want to actually check if your studying has actually made a difference. So what you will do is take a test again. Okay, now I know this sounds like a lot of tests, but remember, we're only answering a few questions from each test. Ideally, you want to get 10 marks if you're aiming for a band 7. Okay, once you've got those 10 marks, then you can repeat the process for the next section. So to summarize, you've taken the test, you've analyzed your results, you realize that section 2 is what you got the least amount of marks, so you take the test again, only focusing on section 2. You study the areas of weakness, and now you take the test again for the third time. Okay, hopefully you'll get a higher mark. If you need to do the test again and again, that is fine. Okay, this is how studying works. Okay, once you've done that, okay, and you're happy with your final score, so you've got your 10 marks now, or hopefully higher, repeat the process for the next section and do it again for the third section. It's a very easy cycle to follow, and remember, you can use this method for other subjects as well. In fact, you can even use it for the listening exam. Now, if you do this, I'm sure you would have got closer to your desired score. Now, if you've benefited from this video, you might want to check out this video here, where I tell you exactly how to get a band 7 for your writing task 2. And also, if you have any questions, feel free to put them in the comment section below, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye bye.